Hi, I'm Colin, and in this video, we're going to show you 3 different modern fire pit ideas that are easy to build. The 3 different types of modern fire pits we're going to be talking about is going to be a round modern fire pit, a square option, as well as a rectangular or linear option. And the installation process for each one are very similar, just have different dimensions and shapes involved, of course. So if you're doing this on top of grass or dirt, you're going to typically excavate about 5 inches to be able to give yourself 4 inches of gravel that will be compacted and 1 inch of embedment that's below the ground, so it's retained. And then you're going to make sure your blocks sit level and flat on that. If you're doing it that way, you want to watch our video, How to Build a Fire Pit, to get a gist of the basic process depending on the shape of your fire pit. If you're doing this on top of paving stones or paver patio, you want to watch our video, How to Build a Stone Patio and Fire Pit, because it has a really good option for making sure you have drainage options for your fire pit if it's a wood burning fire pit on top of paving stones. That's the one thing you need to take into account, that it sits flat and then you have drainage. Either way, we're going to be going over these 3 different fire pits in this video with a basic overview and installation process for each individual one. Now, for a long time, the industry standard for a round fire pit has typically been produced of split face or tumble block. To be more modern or contemporary, we're utilizing our Chateau Moderna, which is untumbled, so it has nice, clean, crisp lines around all the edges, making a nice contemporary, smooth look. The kit that we sell consists of 60 blocks, which you'll use to create 3 rings tall, 20 blocks per ring of these 4-inch blocks, making about a foot tall overall, and make a nice contemporary fire pit with about a 50-inch outside diameter. Now, when it comes to installing our round Moderna fire pits, it's pretty straightforward, especially if you're using the kit. We're just doing 20 pieces per ring. So with our starting ring, we're going to be placing our blocks on our existing concrete pad here with our pavers. We're going to be measuring our diameter for that about 50-inch mark as we place each block, so we can adjust them as we're placing them as we need to. Once our base course is down, we can start gluing and stacking our subsequent courses. You just want to make sure you're mindful of the orientation or the placement of the adhesive, because it's very easy for it to squeeze out of those blocks and become visible. After your 2 subsequent courses are there, you have a finished kit, and you can think about adding a capstone if you want to. Now we have the 3 rings of our fire pit built, and we have a nice finished product that is ready to use. Now, a lot of people add caps to these, and there are a few different options if you want to, as well as smokeless fire pit inserts for the inside to make a wood burning fire pit a little cleaner. Either way, we have a nice finished product that's ready to use as soon as we're done. Now, as things become more modern, we've seen a lot more square fire pits coming out of the woodwork. So what we're gonna do is build a 48-inch outside diameter square. We're utilizing our Chateau Moderna 400mm block. So similar to the round, we're using the same product family, but this is a 16 by 8-inch block. We're using about 10 of these per course to create a 48-inch outside diameter in each direction. We're going to be doing 3 courses that way, and then 1 cap of a course block utilizing the Chateau Moderna 300 in charcoal. Now, this fire pit is super simple, making the installation easy. We're doing 10 pieces per course, creating again about a 48-inch outside measurement in each direction as it's a square. After we have our base course down, we're going to be gluing and stacking our subsequent courses, and again, being mindful of that glue orientation and placement, keep it from squeezing out and being exposed on the outside of our blocks. After I have our 3 courses up of those Chateau 400mm blocks, we can do a cap course, which is optional, with our Chateau 300mm in a different perpendicular orientation, create 2 inches of projection both on the inside and outside of our fire pit for a nice aesthetically pleasing cap course. So we finished gluing and stacking our modern square fire pit and added this charcoal capstone to the top of it to help tie it in and finish it off. You're more than welcome to not add a cap or add a cap of a different color if you wish to do so. It's also not uncommon for people to add a liquid propane or natural gas fire pit insert to a fire pit of this size because it's nice and convenient. Now for our linear modern fire pit option, we're going to be utilizing our Murata Soido Corner block, which is the baby brother to the Murata Soido. The Murata Soido Corner is about an 8 by 8 by 16 inch block. As you notice here, just like all Murata family members, they're manufactured upside down to have a nice bevel around the edges here, then usually laid upside down. But for this fire pit, we'll be laying them upside down and with the bevel side up, so it's finished enough to where we don't need to use a cap. It's gonna be about 32 inches by 56 inches long. We're just gonna be using full blocks, we won't have any cuts. And because they're a nice 8-inch tall block, we only need 2 courses to create this linear modern fire pit. Now, aside from these Murata Soido Corner blocks being very heavy at 80 pounds a block, it's a very simple and straightforward fire pit that we're going to create with just utilizing 9 blocks per course and 2 courses overall. We're going to lay down our first 9 blocks, making sure everything is straight and square, and then we can start gluing and stacking our second and last course, being mindful of that glue orientation and placement. Of course, we don't want any glue to squeeze out and be exposed on the outside of our fire pit. With those 2 courses there, you have a finished product unless you want to add a cap block or something like that. So we finished our 2 total courses of the Murata Soido Corner blocks to give us this nice rectangular linear fire pit. Now we do believe it'll satisfy most people's aesthetic wants and desires to not place a capstone because of this nice beveled finish on the top. But if you do want a capstone, there's a couple of different options. There's the Chateau Moderna 300 in charcoal, which being a 12-inch piece and a soldier orientation, they'll give you about 2 inches of projection or overhang. Or there's also our Monaco coping stone, which is also 12 inches, giving you 2 inches on both sides of overhang if you want that nice rounded bullnose look. Either way, with or without a cap, you have a nice modern, finished, and accessible, usable fire pit. So now that you've seen our 3 different versions or styles of modern fire pits, we hope that inspired you if you have a fire pit project coming up. But keep us in mind if you have any other hardscape project coming up after the fact, because we have a huge library of videos on our YouTube or blogs on our website that will surely help you through about any hardscape situation.